Hello everybody. Thought I would just do a quick update and some news. A lot of news has come in. It's kept me busy. Thank you so much to all of you who are sending me information and links and everything like that. Like I said, a lot of news going on. Now, before I get into that, I want to share an article that Watchtower wrote. Now, the problem is that most Jehovah's Witnesses will not go look at the old literature. Watchtower Bond Volume, 1974, page 35, January 15th. Can you be true to God yet hide the facts? And we've mentioned this before in a video, and this is even in Crisis of Conscience. Ray pointed this out. But I just want to read a few things from this article, because this is what I was taught as a kid growing up as a Jehovah's Witness. My mother drilled it into me to tell the truth. Can you be true to God yet hide the facts? Now I'm going to talk directly to Watchtower on this one and call hypocrites. You'll see it when I start reading this. What results when a lie is let go unchallenged? Does not silence help the lie to pass as truth, to have freer sway to influence many, perhaps to their serious harm? Sound familiar? What happens when misconduct and immorality are allowed to go unexposed and uncondemned? And that's what this channel has been about for 8 years. Exposing Watchtower, their lies, their CSA abuse problem. Back to the article. Is this not like covering over an infection without any effort to cure it and keep it from spreading? When persons are in great danger from a source that they do not suspect or are being misled by those they consider their friends, is it an unkindness to warn them? They may prefer not to believe the warning, they may even resent it, but does that free one from the moral responsibility to give that warning? And I know many JWs, even my mom, I heard it through the grapevine. She told one of her JW friends, I don't understand why they just can't move on with their life. Why do they have to speak out and attack the organization? This is why. Because it was drilled into us to tell the truth and expose wrongdoing and corruption. What happened if you were in the Kingdom Hall and you heard about some wrongdoing that someone had done? Weren't we told if you don't go to the elders and say what you know, tell them, basically tattle on that person, then you share in their sin? This was drilled into us. So this is why, we keep exposing this. So I'm just going to hit a few highlights here in this article. There's a picture of a minister sweeping materialism, fraud, immorality, cheating, disregard for Bible standards, and he has a broom and he's sweeping all of those things under the rug. Well, this is exactly what Watchtower does. Going on. If you are among those seeking to be faithful to God, the issues these questions raise are vital for you today. Why? Because God's servants in every period of history have had to face up to the challenge these issues present. They have had to expose falsehood and wrongdoing and warn people of dangers and deception. And isn't that exactly what we have been trying to do? But yet Watchtower calls us mentally diseased apostates. Telling half-truths and lies. No, this is right in your own literature. See? It's on jw.org. I will put the link down below to this. Not just in a general way, but in a specific way, in the interest of pure worship. It would have been far easier to keep silent or say only what people wanted to hear. Because when you speak out, you lose everything. Your family, your friends, your whole foundation of beliefs. But faithfulness to God and love of neighbor moved them to speak. They realized that better is a revealed proof than a concealed love. And that is our hope. That we can get Jehovah's Witnesses to see. And if they want to stay with the organization and worship them, that is fine. That is their choice then. But understand that we feel compelled. It is our duty to warn people and the general public about what we see and the corruption and the lies and the immorality. The continuing pattern, and then they go on to talk about ancient Israel, how wrongdoing became rampant in that nation. Dishonesty, violence, immorality, and hypocrisy disgraced the name of the God whom the Israelites claimed to worship. Well, the same thing. Look at how Watchtower has brought disgrace to the name of God. I know they use the name Jehovah, but look at how they have disgraced. They shouldn't even call themselves Christians. Bottom of page 35, the second column. The majority of the religious leaders sought popularity by doing just that, condoning and whitewashing the wrongdoing and violation of God's righteous standards and ways. But God's instruction to his true prophets are exemplified by what he said to the prophet Ezekiel. Now as regards you, O son of man, a watchman is what I have made you to the house of Israel. Well, the same thing applies. We're just trying to expose, what we see. Then they quote the scripture at John 3:19 through 21. Page 36, the bottom of the left column. Jesus knew the high position of trust and confidence that those religious leaders held in the eyes of the people. Did this cause him to remain silent and not warn others? No, but forcefully and publicly he exposed them as betrayers of God and man, as lovers of popularity and praise, as hypocrites and blind guides. Beautiful outside but full of uncleanness inside. Persecutors are those speaking the truth from God. And that's what we're trying to do. Like I said, this was drilled into us our entire lives, even as kids, 37, page 37, first column, first full paragraph under the subheading, what faithfulness requires of us. Do you believe that lies should not go unchallenged? Then what about falsehoods told about God, misrepresentations of his announced purposes? Surely this is not less, but more serious than lies of a general kind. Perhaps you agree that wrongdoing should be exposed. But what if the wrongdoing is done by religious people? Perhaps persons in your own church. Will faithfulness to God cause you to speak out for what is right? And you can go on, read it. Of course, they want to paint themselves as squeaky clean and, God's clean organization and all of that. And it's like, no, they're not. They're not. And that's why we keep exposing these lies. All right, so now on with the news. I want to thank the person who had sent me the original documents for the vaccines in the Kingdom Hall parking lots. They brought up a good question. Does Watchtower have investments in these big pharmaceutical companies? So I started digging. So thank you, sweetie, for bringing up that question. And we're also hearing that some other Kingdom Halls now are setting up vaccine clinics in their parking lot. So, I did a little bit of digging, and there might be a tax return more recent. This was the first one I came across that had a list of their investments, and so this is what I grabbed. I will put the information or the link down below because it is from the 990foundationcenter.org. And the 990, most of us know, that is the IRS tax form that these organizations have to file on the money they've made. Okay, this one has the date on it of 2012. Return of organization exempt from income tax. Henrietta Riley Trust for Watchtower Bible. And like I said, you can go look at this yourself. Check out what I'm saying. I feel compelled to expose this. Number 1, summary. This is still on the first page. Briefly describe the organization's mission or most significant activities. Support Watchtower Bible Tract Society. And then you can go through all the financials for the previous year. Same thing. Support Watchtower Bible Tract Society. And they do have checked that they are a 501c3. It's right in these forms. But they also have checked that they don't engage in lobbying activities or have a Section 501H election in effect during the tax year. No. So, and there's some very interesting information that you can glean from these Form 990s. And when you scroll down to page 12, you can see that the total revenue was $739,506. And then they have a Schedule A in here, public charity status and public support on page 13. And you can see that once again they have checked. Looks like they have also checked 509A2. So I haven't had a chance to investigate what that particular coding is for the tax codes and business codes. Now we're starting to get into the good stuff with financial statements and all of that. Watchtower Bible Tract Society amount of cash grant $719,478. IRC code section, if applicable, 501c3. Now the information that I was looking for in this is on page 24 of the PDF one. It's an account statement. Investment portfolio summary. And this is where we get into the good stuff, because you can see what their investments are. Now I did a video, I believe a year or so ago, and I was going through the more recent tax returns, like 2017, 2018, something like that, and they were actually selling off stock. And so I thought that was interesting. But they have here, they have it like industry sector at the top. They have like a pie chart here on page 25 of the PDF. Consumer staples, energy, financials, healthcare, and that was my goal. That's what I was looking for. Information technology, materials, telecommunication services, utilities. And you will be surprised at all of the investments that this Riley Trust has that is giving Watchtower money for. General Motors, Nike, Target, Coca-Cola, Ecolab, Underneath Energy, ConocoPhillips, Devon Energy Corporation, Occidental Petroleum, Phillips 66. Then they have Total Financials, JP Morgan. Imagine them having stock and investments in JP Morgan. Big surprise. Visa. I mean, it's just amazing when you go through this. Okay? Under Total Healthcare, Johnson & Johnson. And we all know that they're one of the companies that have the vaccine. Like I said, you can go through this. Intel, IBM, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Invesco. That's the foreign stock. I mean, it's just amazing, you know, and I know stocks aren't doing too well right now, but you can see how invested they are in all of this. Now, when you start looking at all of these financials, investments, you know, not only do they have stock in Johnson & Johnson, but also Pfizer. Interesting, because that's the vaccine they're going to be administering in the Riverside County Kingdom Hall. Now, I also want to mention, thank you, sweetie, for letting me know, and we were so happy for you. She has been trying to wake up her sister for a while now, you know, and asking me for help, you know, anything that would wake her JW sister up. And when we came out with those documents, well, they happen to live in Riverside County. And the ex-JW was shocked. And so she shared those documents with her JW sister. Guess what? That woke her up. So, see, this is what I mean. Watchtower is waking these JWs up faster than we could. And you know what the JW sister's comment was? How is this any different than the money changers in the temple? And it's like, yeah, you're right. Good point. It's no different. And what did Jesus do? He went in and chased them all out. Now, I'm also going to put a link. You can go to Citizens Audit and type in Henrietta Riley and get a list of, you know, the documents they have. And I noticed here on the 2013 form, which would have been, I think, for the tax year 2012, Schedule O, page 17, they mention gas, mineral, and oil interest income. And it's like, that's interesting. Page 21, supplemental information of Form 990. Henrietta Riley Trust for Watchtower Bible. They have a note here. See that right there? I'm going to read that. Governing Body Meeting Documentation, Part 6, Line 8A. And I looked through this tax return and I could not find that documentation. So the citizensaudit.org may not have those. This trust is under probate administration. An annual report is submitted to the probate court for approval. Number 2, Form 990 Governing Body Review, Part 6, Line 11. Like I said, it's not there either. Copy of tax return is submitted to trustee before it is filed with the Internal Revenue Service for the trustee's review and approval. So see, the governing body knows that they are being given money by these stocks and investments. Some of these Jehovah's Witnesses wouldn't want any part of. And many of us YouTubers have done videos in the past about some of these investments, you know, like in the Rand Cam company. You know, you can go to our channel and that little magnifying glass, click on that and just put in Rand Cam investments. We've done videos on it. Okay. Like I said, I will put the link down below to this. Now I want to also mention, thank you, Nellie, it looks like another CSA abuse case has been filed in New York, Kings County Supreme Court, because the documents are dated May 18th, 2021. I will put the link down below. I haven't had a chance to read all of that yet. I will also put the link to the Ramapo.org because the town of Ramapo, that's a tongue twister, they are having a public meeting where the public can give their opinion, because Watchtower has filed all the documentation, all the plans, all of the environmental impact statements, and all of that for their media center they are wanting to build here in this area, Ramapo. There's a whole long list of documents. There is even a informational meeting presentation dated September 23rd, 2020.
On behalf of the town board, we'd like to welcome you to attending this remote meeting. The board is holding this special meeting in its capacity as the lead agency for SECRA for the Watchtower Audio Video Center project. As a threshold matter, the applicant's proposed project will require a zoning action by the town board and may require an amendment of the town comprehensive plan. At this time, I will ask that Ira Emanuel, the attorney for the applicant, please address the public and the board.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and thank you, members of the town board. We appreciate this opportunity to provide this public information session so that the public and also members of the town board can get an overview of the project that we are proposing. This project, as it says on the screen, is going to be the Audio Video Production Center for the world headquarters of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses moved to a new world headquarters in the town of Warwick in approximately 2017. At the time, they also owned this piece of property. After settling in Warwick, they realized that they had a need to consolidate their audiovisual production facilities, which are scattered through New York State, and they felt that they could consolidate all of those facilities on the property that we're talking about here. I wanted to introduce the project team to you. The project sponsor obviously is the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York, also known as the Jehovah's Witnesses. Keith Cady and Matthew Mordecki, who are with us this evening, are the leads on the project from the sponsor's perspective. Mr. Cady is an architect with much experience with large projects and projects that involve sensitive sites, sensitive and complicated sites. Mr. Mordecki is the project CFO. He makes sure that the bills are paid. AKRF is the environmental and planning consultant. AKRF is a very well-known large regional consulting firm. They have done many, many projects in Rockland County and the Hudson Valley. And Nina Peak and Ashley Lee from AKRF are here with us this evening. I am the land use attorney for the project. I've had extensive experience here in Rockland County for nearly 40 years. Mechanical and electrical consultants are BR&A Consulting, which is a worldwide engineering consulting firm. Structural consultants are GACE, which is a large regional and national firm, and our landscape architect is Murdoch Wickham, Landscape Atelier from England. The site, as I said before, is going to consolidate the media production facilities for the Jehovah's Witnesses. It will be a live-work environment, and that will be discussed in a little more detail below. But most of the folks who will be living and working there will be members of the clergy of the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Wait, what did he say? I'm going to play that again.
Most of the folks who will be living and working there will be members of the clergy of the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Clergy are going to be living there? But Jehovah's Witnesses don't have any clergy. It's a shame Jehovah's Witnesses, aren't more interested in their organization or allowed to watch videos talking about this kind of stuff. Because the Jehovah's Witnesses, or I should say the fully indoctrinated Jehovah's Witnesses, are going to be like this. No, I don't want to hear this. This is negative against Jehovah's organization. Or they're going to condone the line for, oh, it's theocratic warfare, that they have to, kiss Satan's world's backside to get what they want. And I mean, like I said, this video is just so triggering. It's like, this is how Watchtower is doing business out in the world. That's what's so upsetting.
That is intended because the media production that we're talking about is for the purposes of pushing forward the mission of the Jehovah's Witnesses.
In editing this, I realized that I forgot to mention this clip right here.
So we really see that this project will benefit the town of Ramapo in several ways by creating jobs, supporting the local businesses, improving local utility connections, and of course the annual revenue for services that are rendered throughout the existence of this facility.
This reminded me of the article I mentioned at the beginning. I was like, really? How does Watchtower provide jobs for anyone outside of the Jehovah's Witnesses themselves? And, you know, bring business to those in the town and revenue and all of this? We all know this is the biggest pile of steamy manure I have ever heard. And it's like this meeting with the town board is just making me so triggered and infuriated because they're lying through their teeth. So back to the video. So I'll put the link down below so you can go check that out. And also, it looks like they have filed more copyright lawsuits against a couple of people. There's 4 documents here, and I see 2 different names. They have subpoenaed Facebook for these people's information. And it's just unbelievable, you know, how Watchtower can get away with this stuff. I mean, they are such hypocrites. Now, I also have an article here in the La Prensa. It is in Spanish, and you will have to translate it. But it's sad. It's sad because, you know, children are supposed to be in seats with seat belts. It looks like there was a dozen Jehovah's Witnesses in a pickup on their way to a baptism, and they got in an accident, and it totaled the truck. It totaled the truck. 2 dead and 10 injured in a pickup overturning in Puerto Cortez. Puerto Cortez, Honduras. A tragic balance of 2 dead and 10 injured yesterday left a pickup overturning on the uneven bridge that is the entrance to Puerto Cortez and that connects to the Omaha Highway. Now, I had to use Google Translate, and so, you know, the wording's a little bit off. One of the victims was identified as Carolina Burgos, and the identity of the other was not established. Those injured are members of the Jehovah's Witnesses Church. The accident occurred around 6:30 a.m. The police authorities reported that the vehicle was descending on the bridge to take the Omaha Road, and when it reached the epicenter of the curve of the platform, the woman who was driving it lost control. The car, after jumping the curb, flew off, and after several laps, I'm thinking turns, flips, it was in a taxi position and semi-destroyed. The occupants of the vehicle were thrown into the air and were injured on the pavement. Now remember, this is a truck. 2 dead, 10 injured. That means there was 12 people in this truck. The Puerto Cortez Fire Chief, Colonel Hernan Canales David, indicated that 3 ambulances and a tank car with equipment to brake cars and rescue trapped people traveled to the scene of the accident. Here they call it the jaws of life. He said that more than 10 people were injured at the scene, including women and children. They treated the most delicate at the scene, and after stabilizing them, they transferred 7 of the injured to the Puerto Cortez area hospital. Canellis reported that another of the wounded died at the hospital whose identity was not established. Carolina Burgos, who was traveling in, it says pan of the car, I'm thinking the bed of the truck, died at the scene of the accident. The comment that could be heard in the place is that they were going for baptism to Omoa and only women and children went and that they reside in Villanueva. Villanuevo? We have been informed that one person died in the hospital, said the fire colonel. The medical staff of the Portas Cortes area hospital reported that of the 7 wounded admitted, 5 were referred to health centers in San Pedro Sula. Of the 7 injured, 4 are children. So sad. And then they go on to talk about, they're having a wave of road accidents and telling people, what to do. And like they said, have kids in seats. But really sad. Really sad. But gotta get to that baptism, Alright, thank you for watching, everyone. And thank you for all the cards and gifts and support and love. We appreciate it so much. It's very much appreciated. You're getting this information out to us. And so you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye.